Hi guys, welcome and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how you can edit this portrait step by step using my actions. If you want to download this retouching action full pack and makeup artist retouching action, a link is in the description. Recently I have made a creators bundle pack, so you can get all of them with a discount code for 35%, and link is in the description. Go check it out. So as I said in the beginning, this portrait needs to be clean. I'm just gonna go click here in clean and click play. After we do that, as you can see, we have two different layers. One of them is clean and one of them is black and white. So we're going to work in the clean, and this black and white help layer helps us to see more details into the highlight parts. For example, here, if we turn off this and turn on, as you can see, there are some details that we can see that. So I'm just gonna use a black and white help layer to see the details and the highlights. For cleaning, I'm gonna use three different tools. One of them is spot healing brush tool, healing brush, and patch tool. As you can see, I have just made them with shortcuts J, K, and L, so I can switch between tools in an easy way. So I'm just gonna start with cleaning here in the forehead. For retouching, I'm using Wacom Tools Pro S. It's great for retouching. If you're using a mouse already, I highly recommend you guys to get a pen tablet for retouching because it will make your workflow faster and better. Don't forget to check all the links down in the description because you can find the raw file here. I have a Telegram channel where I put all the raw files that I use in my video tutorial, so check the link in the description and you can find this raw file to start retouching step by step with me. I'm just gonna speed up this process of cleaning because it's only with the healing brush, and see you guys in a few seconds. Here you can see the selection that I'm creating, but for this time, the feather radius, I'm going with 6 because this side needs to be more soft. So again, with a mixer brush, I'm cleaning this part. And here we are with a before and after of the cleaning. I think it's looking fine so far, but I will just make some changes here on the hair. And I think we are good so far. After we are done with cleaning, as you can see a before and after, I'm gonna delete this black and white help layer and I'm gonna merge the clean with background by holding Ctrl keyboard, right click and merge layers into one. After you're done with clean, I'm going to work with frequency separation. So just go click here on FS plus, click play, and choosing the right radius for this part, you have to slide this into the left into 0.1 and zoom in into the texture and sliding this into right until the texture is gone. For example, 7 I think will work fine, or maybe 8. Yeah, I'm going with 8 radius. Click OK. And after we are done with that, here you have the group of frequency separation. As you can see, we have two different layers. One of them is low frequency or the color, and high frequency is the texture. So we are going to work first in the low frequency. In this part, I'm going to use mixer brush, but be careful because for the settings, this time wet is going to be 10, load 25, mix 45, flow by 33, and this one by 2%. And the sample all layers should not be checked. And I will start using mixer brush here in the forehead by mixing the skin tones with the highlights. Mostly this process is the same. I'm gonna speed up this process of frequency separation and see you guys in a few seconds. And here we are after we have done some changes in the low frequency. Now let's just check a before and after the frequency separation, and I think it's starting to look really nice. So I'm gonna use a black and white help layer to see more details into this portrait, and I'm just gonna put this on top. Check a before and after of this entire process, and I think it's looking really nice. Now that we are done with low frequency, it's time for the high frequency or the texture. For texture, I'm going to use a clone stamp tool, and the clone stamp tool works fine when we copy paste the texture from the nearest part as possible. For example, you have to check this, the opacity and flow should be 100, and start copy pasting the texture as near as possible. For example, here and here, as you can see. Because when you do, for example, you copy the texture here and paste it here, as you can see, you can make some bad changes in the texture. So be careful that you have to copy paste as near as possible. To copy the texture, you have to hold and click Alt keyboard for copy, and when you release and start working, it's a really nice technique. You can use even the spot healing brush in this part, but I prefer to use a clone stamp tool because it leaves no marks, because when you use healing brush and patch tool, they can leave some bad marks in the texture. So be sure to use the clone stamp tool. And again, for this process, it's only the clone stamp tool. I'm just gonna copy paste the texture, so I'm gonna speed up this process too. So see you guys in a few seconds. And here we are after we are done with high frequency. As you can see, before and after of this entire process. Now it's time for dodge and burn. So I'm just gonna click on dodge and in the burn. Click play. I will just put them on top. I will delete the black and white help layer, and I will click play on dodge and burn help check layer. So I'm going to dodge and burn in the inverted way. So I'm just gonna double click here on the levels and make this kind of into dark. And I will start with a dodge. So we are going to dodge the brightener parts and burn the darker parts. So I'm going to start with a dodge here, and I will start with a 20% brush. And basically this entire process is only with dodge and burn. So I'm going to burn the darker parts and I will dodge the brighten parts. So I will speed up this process and see you guys in a few seconds. And here we are after we have made some changes in the dodge and in the burn. So I'm just gonna check them one by one. As you can see in the dodge, when we open the group of dodge, here you can see that desaturate. This is a desaturated adjustment. So I'm just gonna turn off this and check a before and after of the dodge. And I think it's looking good, but not that much. So I'm just gonna lower this by 45%, and I will check the burn. And for the burn, I think it's looking good. Again, open this group and click on the saturate. I'm gonna lower this by 35 and check a before and after of the burn. Let's just zoom in a little, and I think it's looking good, but not that much. So I'm just gonna lower this into 45. Check a before and after of this entire process. Click here on the dodge, drag and drop this and make this black layer mask into black. So we are gonna use this dodge second group for dodging some highlighted parts. I'm just gonna make some changes here. I'm gonna add some highlights into the eyes, as you can see. Now check a before and after. 45 is obviously not that much, so I'm just gonna increase this to 100 and keep working on the dodge. I'm gonna add some dodge into the lips, a little here on the nose. Now let's just check a before and after from a zoom out, and I think it's looking good. Now add some dodge here on the chest part and a little here. Let's just make some changes with the highlights. Check a before and after of the entire process. And for this dodge, I'm gonna lower this by 80%. Now go to burn, drag and drop this again. The layer mask should be black. And I will make some changes here. I'm gonna add some contours here on the cheeks, a little around the forehead. I'm gonna add some burn here on the eyebrows. Now let's just check, sorry, a before and after from the zoom out. And 45 is really very low, so I'm just gonna increase this by 100 and check a before and after. I think it's looking good, but not that much. I'm just gonna lower this by 85. Now check again a before and after this entire process. Check again the burn before we make other adjustments. And I think that 85 is too much, so I'm just gonna lower this by 65, and I think that 65 will work fine. And as you can see, when we are in zoom out, you can see some more details. For example, I'm gonna remove this part. For example, I'm using the spot healing brush to make some changes for cleaning. Now zoom out again and check a before and after this entire process. And if you think that you're good to go, and I think that we are not, I'm gonna use again the high frequency. I'm just gonna drag and drop this by creating another copy, and I will use a clone stamp tool, and I'm gonna clean this part. I'm just gonna copy paste the texture here and paste it here around the lips by removing the hair, because I think it needs to be this way. Now check a before and after, and I think it's looking good. Now add some digital skin texture, because we have reduced the texture here around the lips. So just click on the digital skin texture, click play, and with a 100% brush, I'm gonna paint it here where we have made changes. And this one is obviously too much with 100, so I'm just gonna lower this by 55. Check a before and after of the entire process. And I think that is looking good. Add some more dodge here under the eyes, because I think that it's on a need. And let's just check a before and after again. And I think that we are done with frequency separation and dodge and burn. Now close this and click here on the eye plus all in, because we are gonna work for the eyes. And I'm gonna add some rosy lips and cheeks. Click play, click stop again. But first I'm going to work in the eyes. So open the group eye plus and start working. The remove veins is for the white of the eyes, it's for cleaning them or removing the red veins that are shown, but in this portrait I think that there is none, and I think it's good. And the brightening is for the white of the eyes, so I'm just gonna paint it here. Now zoom out, because this is the best way we can see the changes. Let's just check the remove veins, and I think it's too much, so I'm just gonna lower this by 45. Now check the brightening, and also the brightening is way too much, I'm just gonna lower this by 35. Now check again the entire group, and I think it's looking good. Now zoom in again, click on the eyeball lightening with a 100% brush. I'm just gonna paint it here by making the eyeballs more brighter. Now zoom out again, check a before and after, and I think it's looking good, but I'm just gonna lower this into 65. Yeah, 65 works fine. Now zoom in again, click on the iris contour with a 100% brush again. just create some contour around the eyeballs. Now let's just finish this. Go again in the zoom out, and I think iris contour is looking good, but lower this by 35, maybe 40, something like that. And this one is iris color. If you want to change the color of the eyes, you can just paint it here inside the eyeballs, and you can double click here and you can slide this into the color that you want to make eyes look. For example, I'm just gonna leave this into the original color because I think is the best. And I think that we are done with the eye plus. Now go to makeup artist retouching action, click play here on the smoky eyes and mascara, and I think that we have made some mistakes. And here we have the smoky eyes and the mascara, so I'm just gonna click here on the smoky eyes, and with a 20% brush I'm just gonna paint it here around the eyes by making them look even better. So let's just check a before and after, and I think it's looking really nice, but lower this because 50% is too much. Now click on the mascara, and with a white brush and 50% opacity I'm just gonna paint over the eyelashes by making them darker. Now check before and after of this process, and I think that is looking good, but 65 is way too much. I'm just gonna lower this by 45, and here it says eyeshadows, pick a color. This one is for changing colors around the eyes, for example the color that is here, and I'm just gonna make a copy of the lips color because something pink into red into orange, something like this. And with the white brush at 10% or maybe 20, something like that, I'm just gonna paint here around the eyes. This is great for makeup artists because you can choose the color you want and you can paint it here, and it will make the eyes look really nice. Now let's just check out before and after of this process, and I think it's looking really nice. As I said, you can pick whatever color you want. For example, we can go with the blue, and here you can see the before and after what you can do with this. As you can see, you can make the makeup of your choice, as you can see. Now zoom out, and you can have some great details. For example, this blue works really nice. You can even make them around the entire eyes, and here you have the results. It's not that it's looking that good, but you can always demonstrate whatever you want. For example, 22% is looking nice, but I'm gonna stick with the color that is original, and I will add some blue here because I think it has some kind of dark blue. Now let's just check if this works, and yeah, I think it's looking good. And now I'm gonna add a white color here by creating some highlights, and I think that we are done with the eyeshadows. Now click and shift by making this into a group and rename this eyes. Now check a before and after, and yeah, I think it's looking really nice. Now that you are done with eyes, it's time for the lips. I'm just gonna click here on the rose lips, and with a white brush and 100% opacity, I'm just gonna paint here around the lips by making them into a rosy look, and I think it's looking good. Now check a before and after, and the 65 is way too much, so I'm just gonna lower this by 25. I'm gonna duplicate this rosy lips by drag and drop this into the plus and blending mode from normal to soft light. Check a before and after of this one and reduce this by 50%, something like that. and I think that is looking good. Now click here on the lips dodge and burn, click play, and here it says pick lips color, which is the dodge, this layer. So we are going to pick the color here and start dodging into the lips. I'm just gonna zoom out and see where we want to dodge. I think that the upper lip needs a little changes, so I'm just gonna dodge this lip, and I know that is way too much, but I'm gonna lower this layer later. Now check a before and after, and yeah, I think it's looking good, but lower this by 45. Now click here on the pick lips color, which is burn, and we are going to choose a darker pink, and I think this works good. Now make some changes here again on the both of the lips. This one is for creating some shadows on the lips. Now check a before and after of this one, and yeah, I think it's looking good, but 100% is way too much. I'm just gonna lower this by 35. Now check the entire group, and yeah, I think it's looking good. Now make them into one group and rename the group lips. Oops, sorry. What I am doing here, put these two layers into the lips dodge and burn. It's okay, and I think it's looking good. Now click here on the rosy cheeks, and with a 50% brush, I'm just gonna paint here on the cheeks by making them into a rosy look. Check a before and after of them. I think it's way too much. I'm just gonna lower this by 20%. Now check a before and after of this entire process, and I think it's looking good. Now click here on the background and duplicate this, hold on Shift keyboard and click here and make this group, rename the group Retouch. After we are done, drag and drop this Retouch, right click and merge all the group into one, and click Ctrl and A by selecting entire window, click Ctrl C, go to File, New, and create a new file for this one, and paste what you have copied and merge these layers into one. Now click here on the soft lips, click play. The reason why I did this because some actions doesn't work when we have too many layers in the layers. So I'm just gonna soften these lips just a little, not that much. Now check it before and after all this process, and I think it's looking good, but 50% is way too much. I'm just gonna lower this by 20 and hold and click Shift, merge these layers into one again. Click here on the lips glow, click play, and with a 100% brush, I'm just gonna paint it here by making them into a glow look. Now zoom out, check a before and after, and yeah, this one is looking good, but 30% is way too much. I'm just gonna lower this by 12, check a before and after, and merge them again into one layer, and go again to the retouching action pull pack, or you can click here on the makeup artist retouching actions, click on the frequency separation and click play. Let's just zoom in into the lips, and 40 is, I think, is too much. I'm just gonna go by 5. Nope, I'm going by 2. Yeah, 2 is fine. We are going to work only on the lips, and again with a mixer brush, 10% opacity of this one, 25, 45, and 33 of the glow. I'm just gonna make some changes here on the lips by making them look even better, because this needs a little work, and this frequency separation technique that I'm doing here now with the 2% of radius in the low frequency works fine when we want to make small details, for example on the lips. Now check it before and after, and this one is way too much, so I'm just gonna merge this group into one. Check it before and after, zoom in, and here you can see the frequency separation is way too much, so I'm just gonna lower this by 45. Check it before and after, and I think that 45 works fine. Merge them into one. Now drag and drop this background, go to filter and liquify. So I'm just gonna make some changes on the lips. Now zoom in and use forward warp tool, and I think that I will make some changes here on the shape of the lips inside. You can use a clone stamp tool for this process, but I'm using Liquify. It's okay if you use a clone stamp tool, because these details you can only see them. So when you post the picture on the social media, there is not big changes that people can see. But don't worry about that. I'm doing this just for myself, because I want them to look really nice. And zoom out. Now make some changes outside the lips. And click enter. Here you have the changes that you have done into the lips. Now merge these two layers into one again, and click here, go to sharpen, basic contrast and face contour, click play, and turn off all of them. Click on the sharpen. As you can see, the layer mask is black, so turn this into white by Ctrl and E or Ctrl delete. And 100% is way too much for the sharpen, so I'm just gonna lower this by 35 or maybe 25 is good. Click here on the basic contrast that we have added, and 100% is again too much, so I'm just gonna lower this by 20%. And click here on the face contour, double click here. This one is for the whites, midtones and the blacks, so I'm just gonna slide this into the right by removing the work on the highlights and turn down this by 25. Click shift click shift keyboard and hold it. Click here on the background and merge these layers into one. Now drag and drop this, and with the move tool I'm just gonna put it here on the original file. As you can see, a before and after what we have done in the other window. I'm gonna merge them both into one layer and check before and after of this entire process. And I think that we are good with the retouch. Now it's time for color grading. So go again to the other window, delete this one, and click on the color grade white skin, because this one is for the white, and click play. And I'm gonna choose the right color grade, and I think this works fine. So I'm just gonna drag and drop this into the original file and open the group, turn off all of them, and I will check them one by one. And this black and white is too much, so I'm just gonna make this into 10%, and the curves adjustment is way too much, so lower this into 10, and this one into 10. Click here on the photo filter, and I think this one is looking good. Click here on the color balance, and I think 10% will be enough. And this one, make this 100. As you can see, it makes changes on the background because it's for the black, so I'm just gonna put this into 10% and close the group. And I think that 100% of this group is way too much, so I'm just gonna lower this by 60. Click here on the background, and I will make some adjustments more. So click here on the color balance and go to the shadows, or maybe first get the highlights. I'm just gonna make the highlights more into yellow and into red, something like this, and lower this by 25%. Click here on the selective color and go to black. I'm just gonna make this portrait look even darker, because this is what I want, and 20% is good enough. click here on the color balance and go to the shadows. I want shadows into the blue, something like this. As you can see, a before and after. Just lower this by 20%. Now click here and click the selective color, go to the yellows and make some changes for the yellow tones. I think this one is looking good, but 100% is always too much. And click here on the photo filter. I'm gonna stick with the warming filter, go to normal, blending mode to color, and this one into 50%, and drag and drop this background. Hold shift keyboard and click here and group this and rename the group color grade. Drag and drop the group into the plus, and with a right click merge the group. Turn off this, and here you have the color grading. This is a before, this is an after, this is before, this is after retouch, and this is after color grade. Now zoom in, click. As you can see, before and after, we still have the texture. As you can see, the work in the eyes is really nice. Now check a before and after of this entire process. And I think that this one is looking really nice. I hope you enjoyed this video tutorial. Please don't forget to subscribe if you didn't already. Drop some likes for the algorithm. And don't forget to check all the links in the description, because you can find the retouching actions and this raw file. And see you guys in the next one. Peace.